Hi guys and friends of the same circle, cancer. Right, just going to do an update video. We're on the 6th of August 2017. Right, so we got a diagnosis of what I have, and not good. Anyway, I can always never pronounce this properly. Myelodysplastic syndrome. Myelodysplastic. Some of the names out in medical. Anyway, MDS for short, but that's what I've got, and then we can read that. What can you say? There's lots of information in here and what causes it, and which actually is just quite funny what causes MDS. You can't believe some of this stuff when you read in these books. It's quite possible, not that we can prove it, that since my heart attack and taking statins, that statins may have caused the start of my cancer. But nobody will accept that, and no one will even listen to it. Listen to that kind of what might be called slander to a doctor. So yeah, they certainly wouldn't put it in here that statins could be the instigator of what I have. But anyway, we'll move on. Not much I can do about that now. Maybe in the future they could actually prove drugs can cause cancer. What are the signs and symptoms of MDS? About 1/5 of MDS patients have no signs or symptoms and are diagnosed by chance as a routine blood test, which is not correct because I was feeling dizzy and the situation was getting worse, in the sense I was also having trouble finding or running out of breath very quickly. Those patients who do have symptoms present, let me just read that again. Those patients who do have symptoms present with clinical features due to bone marrow failure. In about 80% of patients, this is anemia, whilst about 20%, is it my English? Those patients who do have symptoms present with clinical features due to bone marrow failure. In about 80% of patients, this is anemia, whilst about 20% present with infections or bleeding. Right, okay, got you. Physical side. Anemia tends to lead to fatigue and shortness of breath, even on light exertion. And that's quite right. I mean, I can walk around bottom my garden path and think I've run a bloody marathon. You wouldn't believe I used to run marathons. How is it diagnosed? Under the microscope, affected cells show characteristic abnormalities, both in the blood and in the bone marrow. And it's all to do with red cell numbers. Anyway, I can't cure it. Principles of treatment. a separate publication on Watch and Wait. And no. Anyway, not all patients will receive active treatment straight away because in most cases there is no evidence that early treatment influences overall survival duration. What? How can you put that in there? Patients who are not commencing treatment will have to have regular checkups, right? This is often referred to as watch and wait. In most cases, no evidence that early treatment influences overall survival duration. So what do you do? Take a tea break? Right, so, okay, this is the treatment. Stem cell transplant. Unfortunately, only a small minority of patients with MDS will be candidates for this form of treatment. Right. Okay, anyway, look, it doesn't look as if intensive chemotherapy later on, non-intensive, right? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, that's what I have. There's no quick cure or anything for that. So, the doctor's concern at the present moment is iron. Due to the blood transfusion, I'm starting to collect iron. Nothing simple, is it? So he wants to put me on a couple of what's going on here? So I just something. What's going on? Right, nothing. Sorry about that. Right. Yeah, a couple of drugs he wants to give me, and they have side effects, and some of them are nasty. Yeah. Up until I was 61, until I was 60, I've never been more healthier in my life than ever. Never used to catch colds as such. Illness and me just didn't mix. Here I am now, 63, and it's like having a present. You know, you've been healthy all your life, have this lot. Anyway, so me and my wife have been sitting down investigating all of this, and excuse me a moment, and thinking we're going to have more medicines that are more clinical, on trial, if you like, but they have the side effects. So they've got no drug they've sorted out yet. This is what's working. We'll put this out in the market, and we'll make money on this, even though it makes people sick. I tell you. But anyway, through this whole scenario, one part of the puzzle regarding cancer and how to repair has now sort of come through to the top. And I've not really followed. Well, we worked on it, but we haven't really gone into a serious matter, and that is now diet. I'm reading diet everywhere. I needed to find out where I fitted in that arena. Just it's something you just can't walk into, because you need to know start learning about foods. So one of our major priorities is to, apart from being healthy, I need to get rid of iron from my body, otherwise I'll be forced onto those drugs. And I need to do this naturally. So me and my wife have become botanists. I think you can call it that, or herbalists or whatever. Anyway, cut a long story short, we have a document here, right, and it is full of like right. Well, one of the herbs we're looking at is curcumin. Let me just read this first passage, because it's not just that herb, but lots of other foods here. And what we're looking for is what's called chelators. Now, chelators are like magnets, if you like, in the food industry. And in my case, there's a lot of plants out there that are chelators. In other words, they collect iron from the body and dispose of it in a natural form. The body has this, but it's not going to have enough to compensate for the amount of iron I'm collecting. So I've got to help it. Curcumin, the active ingredient in the traditional herbal remedy and dietary spice called turmeric, is a free radical scavenger and hydrogen donor, and exhibits both pro and antioxidant activity. It is remarkably non-toxic and exhibits limited bioavailability. Curcumin exhibits great promise as a therapeutic agent and is currently in human clinical trials for a variety of conditions, including multiple myeloma, pancreatic cancer, and myeloblastic MDS, colon cancer, psoriasis, and AD. I'm not sure what AD is. Cancer development and progression is inhibited by curcumin via its ability to target multiple steps in the pathway to malignancy. For okay, and this goes on. This report goes on in lots of ways. A lot of it's jargon to me, but in some of the words, but otherwise, there is also a thing called EGCG, and this is all to do with flavonoids and things like this. And here's another one, and this has cropped up from the beginning again as well, but I had to find out where to put it. Green tea. Green tea is standing way up there. Green tea catechins, they call it, catechins, and black tea catechins were evaluated for their ability to induce cell death in several human cancer cells, including human breast. So this is what I think I'm going to do. I'll get my wife to give me the source of this, turn it into a PDF, and I'll stick it on my on the blog, because this is really, really interesting information here. In fact, my wife's quite excited about it. I've never seen her excited like I saw when she was reading this, and this is very uplifting news, this, because the studies have been done, and in fact, I don't know if there's even a date on here. That was when it was printed, but right, there was something else here. Okay, she was looking under synthetic and natural iron chelators. Right, okay, and it's on a website called, I'll have to sort that out. But definitely the Bill Gates Foundation. Right. Okay. I'll put it all on my blog. That is definitely a read on that. Definitely. Right. So I have this incurable disease. We know we've got to take the diet situation into full force now. And obviously we can't be sitting there eating plates and plates of cabbage and pomegranates and some of the foodstuffs I've got to have a go at. Not my normal run of the mill, which is of course true. So we're trying all sorts of things. So yesterday we went out and we got a juicer, and it's 1,000 watts, which I think is pretty big, and well, yeah, 1,000 watts is pretty good anyway. For those who don't have a juicer, you fill up all the veggies in here and screw that on there. Very simple. And there, and turn it over, plug it in there, and then smash it to bits. So we'll be trying this out today, and we've got green cabbage, red cabbage, carrots. I've got, oh, I don't know what she's got in the bag in there, but it's quite a lot of it. It sticks quite well. Oops. So I'm taking 3 drugs from my heart, which hopefully, the way things turn out as we go down the road, apart from aspirin, I hope we can get rid of it and say goodbye to them. So that's one. Number 2, alkalizing my body is working out very well using the well, apart from the right foods, taking my bicarbonate of soda day and night, and my no, it's not that one. It's the bicarb of soda, and my pH on saliva and urine is ranging, well, always on urine I'm around about 7.0, even up to 9 sometimes. Okay, so that's great. And my saliva, that's hovering at around about 7, which is dead perfect. Can be a little bit lower sometimes, but no, that pH has completely changed from acidic and now going to alkaline, so that's working very well. So I'm very happy with that. I'm using 1 teaspoon of soda and in a cup of water with 1 teaspoon of treacle, and I've actually found it just lately that it's actually by mistake I hadn't put enough cold kinetic water in it, That was actually warm when I drank it, and actually it was a lot better. In fact, if you can drink it warm, it gets absorbed better as well. So there's no little tip on the bicarb. Just have it very lukewarm, if you like, and drink that down. If you go beyond 1 teaspoon, and you go for 2, for example, then it's going to be like drinking seawater. Okay, it starts coming out. So I think 1 teaspoon is fine. I've not tried yet to go 3 times a day with it. My pH seems to be okay. I don't need to go any further than 9 because that's going in the wrong direction. So we don't want that. Okay, so right, so that's so number 2 is the bicarb water. My food intake is diet has changed. I'm still eating meat, and we're still finding out about other things on the food side, but we're on the right in the right area because of the pH. That tells me we're doing fine, and with the bicarb. Right, something else I forgot to mention here. My lowest blood count has been 54%. 54. Now, as far as as far as the oil is concerned, we've got to look at my picture in 2. We've got no cure for the MDS as such. Okay. But they can keep changing the blood and keep you alive, basically. And by taking whatever they want to throw at you. Okay. But we know, well, we hope we've got 1 week to prove it, that the chelators through the juicer are going to help remove the iron, so I don't have to take the drug. And here's something else I forgot to mention about this doctor. He was actually very good. He's been the hematologist has actually been really good. I'm very pleased with his attitude and response. And he said, as far as the MDS is concerned, if you can find anybody who's got a cure for this, the doctors are listening. So I thought, well, great, that's honesty out in the open. So I haven't spoken to him about this yet. But anyway, he's got to do his part. I've got to take my drugs, his drugs, but I'm not going to take them. I'm going to take fruit juicing. Now, the problem in my bone marrow is got nothing to do with the iron directly, okay? Because what I'm trying to say is, I have now got to try and reverse what's happening in the bone marrow, okay? Now, they can't help me on the MDS side, but I might be helping myself with this. Now, my blood count, like I said, 54 is the lowest it's ever been at the beginning, but now it's on 89 after 4 blood transfusions. So I'm just keeping an eye on with the nurses at the hospital just to let me know what that blood count is, because I'm going to be very interested. I think it's again next week or the week after that. I go for another blood transfusion, but they do a blood count first and obviously look for the right match. If it goes over 90 something, I don't care if it goes up to 91, I want to hear that, because that could be something going on, right? And so on and so on. So that just keeps going up. I think it's 180 I need to get up to. That's how bad I am at the present moment. So we're not there yet. We don't know if this is helping. Right? I can only go by what comes back to me on physical blood count, and I can't tell by my own physical being whether this is doing anything, because I can't tell that at all. All I know is I'm sort of walking around high most of the time. Not incapable. It doesn't do that to you. You can still do stuff, but you know when you've taken it. So that's basically it, really. Can't say much more than that. As far as my own doctor, National Health Service doctor, is concerned, you know, you walk through that door now with sort of, he knows what he's capable of. But I think he knows that we know that there's a lot of limitations involved, and not just in diagnosis, but his hands being tied and etc. etc. Mind you, he could always change another profession, couldn't he? Maybe it's just cozy for him or something, I don't know. Anyway, that's where we stand. So we're moving forward. Diet is now definitely up there on top of the level, alongside working with the oil, and that's where we're at. That's the path we're on, and time will tell over the next 6 months, I would say. Maybe 3 months. I think maybe 3 months, because I see a lot of testimonials of people saying 2 to 3 months and they're seeing changes. But I need to see those changes myself, because we're only about 7 weeks in here. 7 weeks, yeah, into the process, but not doing all this. So we're sort of starting now, if you like. Anyway, we're all good in the mind. It's all research, and we're collating it. Oh, and hopefully with my new contact, you might find that on my website, on the blog, with prices. But I have to confirm all of that. I have to speak to him first. So this can be available in the UK. Okay, right, that's it. And I don't know when we'll talk again. Maybe a week or so. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you, and keep smiling. There's good news out there. Ciao.